Hello world, my name is Winai and welcome to my channel. On my channel, I talk about money, investing, self-improvement, and anything that makes your life better. And today, I wanted to talk to you about the most interesting topic, that is budgeting. So let's get started. Before we get started, I just wanted to set the record straight that I am horrible at budgeting and tracking my expenses. But I still want to talk to you about it because I know how important it is. I remember listening to a podcast. I don't exactly remember what podcast it is, but they were giving an example of budgeting. They're saying that in the money world, you are the general of your army, and every dollar you own is your soldier in your army. In the money world, you're pretty much going to the war, and nobody would want to follow a general or a leader who does not have a plan. And in this case, your budgeting is your plan, is your strategy. Whether or not you can win this war, it depends on your plan, depends on your leadership, depends on your strategy. Nobody would want to follow a leader who does not have any idea what to do next. And when situation comes up, you ask your leader, what do we do? What's the plan? What's the strategy? And your leader tells you, we'll see as we go. You're never gonna win that war. So budgeting is as critical as it is in the war. That's why I want to address to you how important it is to have a good budgeting plan and follow it through. Hopefully with this video, it will help you realize how important it is, and with a little bit more information and details, you will be able to develop your own budgeting plan and win your war in the money world. The first method I wanted to talk to you about is called zero-based budget. Zero-based budget is assigning a job to every dollar you have. So your total monthly income minus your total expenses will equal zero. But please note, the expenses does not mean you have to spend every dollar you have. It simply means where every dollar is going. So expenses include your savings or debt payments or anything in that sort. Zero-based budget does require a lot of time and energy. You would have to predict and track where every dollar goes. But with that, you will also be in total control of your finance. Because with the amount of detail you have from zero-based budget, you will be able to identify where your problem is and what are the areas that you need to work on. Zero-based budget requires a high level of accuracy as far as predicting and tracking your money. So it works best for people who have a consistent amount of income. It will be easier for them to predict how much they will be making and how much they will be spending every month. But it is possible for everyone else who does not make a fixed amount of income every month. And if you were to implementing the zero-based budget, I would recommend you to start with a simple Excel sheet. I am actually using this budget method myself, and to be honest, I'm not really good at it because my actual expenses are most likely will be different from what my budget is, but that's something I'm working on. And I just want to share with you, if you wanted to work with something that is pre-filled, I actually use this Excel sheet that I purchased from a account that I follow on Instagram. Her Instagram account is called My Walls Diary, and she is anonymous. I just want to share with you. So this is her Instagram account, and she is anonymous, and so she shares all real numbers about her finances. And apart from everything that she does and the achievements that she was able to achieve, she makes beautiful Excel sheets. So if that's something you are interested, I'll link her account down below. You will be able to purchase it. But other than that, you can simply do a Excel sheet with your total income and all the categories that you have for expenses, and 2 should add up to 0. And with that being said, let's move on to the second method. The second method I have for you is called Pay Yourself First Budget. And before we get into any details, I feel very strongly about this, so I'm just gonna say it. I think Pay Yourself First works perfect for people who have a lot of excuses. I have had too many conversations with people telling me they will do this once they get that, or they'll start to do this once they hit this. But if you're not doing it today, you're not gonna do it tomorrow. And myself included, I remember when I got my first job after graduating from college, I remember clearly my first salary was $35,776 a year. And at the time, I thought it was a lot of money, because before that, when I was in college, I was working at restaurants or office jobs where I get paid minimum wage, and at that time, minimum wage was $8 per hour. So 35,000 or almost 36,000 is a lot of money to me. But somehow I managed to spend all that money. I didn't save anything at all. And now think back, if I put 10% away, 20% away, my life wouldn't have too much of a difference, and I would be having a lot more money 10 years later and at this moment. So I just wanted to say that this method helps you to prioritize what's important. If you want to find excuse, you always find excuse. We always have things happening in our life. There's always emergencies or difficulties or things that you have to have. But if you learn to prioritize and if you make a decision to prioritize, you will find a way to do it. And I think Pay Yourself First is a starting point for you to realize that 10%, 20% away, you'll be okay. You're still living your life and you're still eating, you still have a place to sleep, and you'll be a lot more secure tomorrow than you are today because you made that decision. So sorry, I do feel very strongly about this, so I just wanted to say that and share that with you guys, and let's get into the details. So Pay Yourself First method is nothing complicated, nothing fancy, and as its name says, you pay yourself first. So every month once you get paid, you dedicate amount of money towards your goal, which is either saving or investment or pay down your debt, whatever your priority is, and you set that money aside first, and you use the remaining balance of your income to pay your expenses or discretionary expenses or anything in that sort. A lot of people argue that, what if my income is barely enough to cover my expenses? And I think there are two ways to go about it. And the first thing is you have to ask yourself, is your definition of necessities a real necessity? So a lot of times we are used to a lifestyle that we already have, and we're not willing to give up anything. And in life, I think a lot of times, and pretty much everything in life requires sacrifice. If you want one thing, you would have to give up on another. You cannot have everything. Even a prince or princess would have to give up some of their privacy or freedom to be that person who we all admire, or we all think that they have everything in the world. So it's just not how it is. So you would have to track your expenses and go back maybe 3 months of your bank statements to analyze, where did every dollar go? Is that Starbucks drink really a necessity? Are you gonna die without it? And I know a lot of people would say that they won't be able to survive a day at work without that drink. But is there a different way to make that coffee? Is there a cheaper way to make that coffee? So instead of arguing with different methods and how it is not realistic for you, try to find excuses for yourself to do it, to make it possible. And the second thing I think you can do is if you are already living frugally, you are making food at home, you're riding a bike to work, or you are doing everything right, and you still are not able to carve out maybe 10% or something like that out of your income, then you might need to think about increase your income. And I know it sounds a lot easier said than done, but it is possible. It is. You just have to work hard for it. Nobody said it's easy. Nobody said you can just dream about it and the money comes. No. You would have to put in hard work. It might be long hours. You might lose some sleep. You might lose some hair. But it is possible. You just have to make the decision to do it. All right. I think I got a little carried away about pay yourself first. I feel very strongly about this, and I just hope that more people can hear this message and they are realizing how important it is and make that right decision for themselves and for their families. So let's move on. The third method I wanted to talk about is called cash envelope. It was a very popular method for you to be more disciplined. So I think that works for a lot of people who just started to budget and who have no idea where their money is and who have no idea where how much they're spending for each category, and cash envelope method will give them a reality check on how much physical paper cash that you actually have in each category. But nowadays, I think it is a little bit more difficult or inconvenient for you to use this method. You might be able to convert it to a digital way, but the concept of this method is that you actually have all your income in cash. I mean physical cash, a paper cash. So you decide how much you are going to spend in each category. So for example, your rent, your food expenses, your clothing, or any expenses that you might have, and you put them into different envelopes. Yes, a physical envelope, a paper envelope. And if you go grocery shopping, you grab your envelope for groceries, and let's say there's $300 in there, and however much your grocery expenses is, you take money out of that envelope. And once you're done with the money in the envelope, you're done for the month. You don't have any more money to spend unless you wanted to take money out of other envelopes, which is not recommended. So I would say that it is, like I said, good for people who just started, who has no idea or no self-control at all. And it would be a good way for you to have this realization of how much money you're actually spending. And I would say nowadays it's a little bit hard for you to do everything in cash. A lot of landlords don't even accept cash payment as rent. So you might, I think you can do, if you have multiple accounts, maybe 3 accounts or something in that sort, and you can delegate your budget to each different account. So one account for your large expenses, for example, your rent, your car payment, or your mortgage payment, stuff like that. And then you have one for your discretionary and one for everything else, or however you want to delegate them. But I think that's a good way for you to get started, get your feet wet, and have a reality check of where your money is and where your money is going. All right, the last one I have for you today is called 50-30-20. And this one is a little bit more relaxed, I would say. So it divides your income to three big categories: 50%, 30%, and 20%. And 50% are for your necessities. So a roof over your head, food on the table, stuff like that. 30% is for discretionary expenses. So your Netflix subscription, your that sort of stuff. And 20% would be your savings and retirements. And you don't have to follow the numbers exactly. I think you can tweak your numbers a little bit based on your situation. And a lot of people say that 50, 30, 20 is a little bit difficult for people who live in big cities where their housing expenses are really high. You would have to make a lot of money to have your necessities under 50%. So you wanted to see your expenses, see your situation, and change the number a little bit. Some people do have, tweak it a little bit to 70, 20, and 10. So 70 would be your necessities, 20 would be your, expenses and I guess discretionary, and 10% would be your savings. So it depends on your goal and your situation and where you live. You can play with the number and just have an idea of how you're spending your money. I think that's the goal. That's all I have for you today. And like I said before, any tips or advices will only work for you if you actually use them. You can get secret sauce from Warren Buffett, but if you don't invest, you never make money. So the best budget method is the one that you actually use and the one that actually works for your situation. I just want to encourage you guys to start budgeting, tracking your expenses, face your reality, and work on the areas that you need to work on. With that being said, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because I will be sharing my experience and tips for our road to financial independence. Thank you guys. Bye.